Denver's mayor reveals the cost of his anti-homelessness plan. Spoiler alert, it's over budget. We catch up with Colorado's Republican chairman to ask him about allegations from other Republicans that he's a grifter and a bigot.
We make no apologies. We're going to fight to protect children.
Aging elections workers leads to a call for younger reinforcements, much younger. And a word about the murder of radio legend Alan Berg 40 years ago today, and what we still haven't learned. That's tonight on Next. We always knew Denver's plan to solve homelessness would not be cheap. As 9 News investigates the true cost of that program, the mayor's office is now telling City Council it is tens of millions of dollars over what was expected. Our Mark Salinger continues to follow the money.
Yeah, the total is not listed anywhere, and that's what I'm asking about.
I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
The total costs of the mayor's homelessness initiatives have been a bit of a secret. No one knew, or at least no one would say, until today.
It looks to me like we are spending between July 15th, 2023 and December 21st, 2024, $155 million on this.
It took some math from Councilmember Amanda Sawyer and a deep dive from us into the spreadsheets to put everything together. But we now know the city of Denver plans to spend around $155 million on Mayor Mike Johnston's homelessness initiatives between July of last year and the end of this year. That's a lot. In fact, it's about $65 million more than what Mayor Johnston told the public it would cost when he held two press conferences last year.
This total cost is about $48 million.
$48 million in 2023. The following year would be cheaper.
We've laid out a $39 million budget.
A total of $87.8 million budgeted over 2 years. Now we know the city plans to spend around $155 million in that time. So let's break down the costs. More than $100 million will be spent on expenses for hotels that have been bought or leased and converted into shelters. More than $35 million will go toward building and running micro-communities around the city. And another $14 million will be spent on miscellaneous expenses, like programs to put people in permanent housing.
We're getting to a point where we understand now what it costs, this program costs moving forward year over year.
Dr. Jamie Reif with the Department of Housing Stability says the expected yearly operating cost for the homeless programs has also grown. The city now expects to spend $57.5 million every year to try and solve homelessness.
If we serve 2,000 people, which is what we anticipate serving, that is about a per person cost of $28,750 per person.
Much of the $155 million the city is spending are one-time costs over these last 2 years, things like buying hotels and pallet shelters. However, when you look at the mayor's press conference from last September, his presentation clearly outlines that those costs were part of the budget that now seems to be, Kyle, tens of millions of dollars over.
And asking for more.
Yeah, today they asked City Council for $17 million more for what they call unexpected expenditures that were not in the original budget, things like upgrades to the hotels, HVAC systems, stuff like that. We do know that most of these funds are coming from federal funds. Still, a lot of money.
I mean, it goes without saying, Mayor Johnston's trying to do something that no major American city has ever done before, which is to end chronic homelessness. So, of course, it would be tremendously expensive. It's also important to follow the money. You've been doing that. Mark, thank you. Biden administration is offering a legal pathway to residency for people who have been here without legal documentation for a decade or more, so long as they're married to a U.S. citizen. Local immigration attorney Aaron Hall says the prevention of mass deportation of people who are their family's breadwinners or caregivers could save the government big money on public benefits. This new policy, which has been used in the past for military spouses here without legal authorization, allows those spouses the chance to apply for permanent residency and eventually citizenship without having to leave the U.S. to do it. Republicans oppose it. They're calling it mass amnesty. The Biden administration estimates more than 500,000 people would qualify for the program. That could include tens of thousands of Coloradans. In 2019, the Migration Policy Institute estimated that nearly 70% of Colorado's unauthorized immigrant population had been here longer than 10 years. Donald Trump is proposing a mass deportation of everyone in the U.S. without authorization, no matter their family status or how long they've been here. Colorado's Republican Party chairman, Dave Williams, faces a real reckoning on primary day, a week from today, next Tuesday. The GOP dropped neutrality rules to back Williams and his hand-picked allies in their races for Congress. Republican primary voters will decide whether to reward that unprecedented move or reject the power grab. Williams faces demands to resign for recent anti-gay messages, including a call to burn all pride flags. There's an ethics complaint accusing him of misusing party funds to prop up his run for Congress against another Republican. Now, Williams has bailed on his old pledge to come on next and answer our questions here, so politics guy Marshall Zellinger tracked him down at a Republican event today.
The Colorado GOP has endorsed Ron Hanks in Congressional District 3, Lauren Boebert in CD4, Dave Williams in CD5, and Janak Joshi in CD8. At a semi-monthly luncheon today, we were able to ask Williams about the party's spending on those endorsements.
How much has the Colorado GOP spent to help you beat another Republican? And how much has the party spent to help the 3 other endorsed candidates win their contested primaries?
There has been no direct spending from the party for myself or any of the other direct candidates.
That just can't be true because mail costs money. This one, paid for by the Colorado Republican Party, is an ad to vote for Williams. And this one tells voters to vote no on Williams' opponent, Jeff Crank.
So when the finances come out, we're going to see $0 spent to benefit Dave Williams' CD5 campaign and $0 spent for any of the other endorsed candidates?
You're not going to see anything like that.
There's an effort to oust you as chair after you called for the burning of all pride flags and using the term godless groomers. Did you go too far?
We make no apologies. We're going to fight to protect children, and we're going to make sure that we fight against this effort to confuse children into thinking that they can be something opposite than what they were born.
Do you think that can incite hate crimes?
No, words cannot incite hate crimes.
Your anti-gay hate is at odds with former President Trump's welcoming views toward the LGBTQ community. Do you think that Trump approves of your approach?
I mean, I wouldn't characterize what I said as hate. I mean, this is sort of the problem that I have with the media and, of course, my critics, is they want to mischaracterize what was said. I think what was said was very clear. We're going to stand against this pride movement that seeks to indoctrinate children and convince them to do things that ultimately harm them.
Do you think former President Trump would approve of that speech?
I'm not sure if he would or would not.
Following Trump's conviction last month in the adult film star hush money case, Trump's campaign told Republicans to not campaign off the conviction. Yet the Colorado GOP sent out this email to donate to Trump and the Colorado GOP, but with a link that only went to donate to the state party.
Do you know if former President Trump knows that you did that, and do you think he would approve of that?
I don't think there's anything wrong with what we did. We put out a communication saying support Trump and support our efforts to ensure that we win in 2024. That's completely in line with what he was asking.
Did they know that you did that? Because they said do not campaign off this conviction.
I cannot say what they know or do not know, but we certainly haven't received any backlash, and we're here to raise funds to help him get reelected.
I asked about his stance of being the GOP party chairman if voters 1 week from today reject many of the candidates that the party has endorsed. He told me, I have no plans to step down, but he's sure that's a conversation that his critics are going to have in light of his pride comments. But he says he's planning to fulfill his entire term. Kyle.
And you already hear Williams's defenders on the far right say, you got to give him a chance to go all the way through the election, got to give him a chance, which suggests that they're setting the stage for him perhaps getting stomped next week and some of his handpicked allies getting stomped. And then, well, you just got to get him through Election Day. But you would have to think that the discontent with Williams would only grow at that point.
And I asked about the effort to try to have this vote, to try to oust him ahead of waiting through the general election. And he said if enough signatures are delivered, he is going to call for that vote. He didn't seem worried about it, though.
Interesting. Yep, he would only need to hold on to 40% of the Central Committee in order to stave off getting ousted that way. His critics would have to get 60%. That's a high bar. Marshall, thank you. The person who killed 5 people in a mass shooting at an LGBTQ nightclub in 2022 in the Springs pleaded guilty to 50 hate crime charges today. Shooter's already serving a life sentence after pleading guilty last June to murder at the state level. It was Ashley Paugh, Daniel Aston, Derek Rump, Kelly Loving, and Raymond Green Vance who died in that shooting. 17 other people were hurt that night. The shooter entered a plea deal with federal prosecutors to avoid the death penalty, instead getting additional life sentences for hate crimes, plus another 190 years on other counts.
If we can get more younger workers involved, we can get more of the younger voting population out to vote.
All the cool kids are doing it, volunteering as election workers. Folks in southern Colorado are looking at an extra $20 a month on their electric bills. And you know what? It's not XL this time. And a Denver radio legend murdered by neo-Nazis 40 years ago. A word tonight about the lessons I think we still have not learned. So we ride XL Energy like a rented mule when they make questionable decisions. So only fair we look at Black Hills Energy in southern Colorado as they ask state regulators for a whopping rate hike. Black Hills serves about 100,000 customers around Pueblo and Canyon City. They want Colorado's Public Utilities Commission to approve a $36 million rate increase, their first hike in 8 years. If this is approved, they estimate it would increase the average residential customer bill by $20 a month, even more for commercial customers. Black Hills says they need the cash to cover millions of dollars in infrastructure investments. They estimate they've spent more than $300 million upgrading their equipment since the last time they raised rates in 2016. If approved, the new rates go into effect next year. Chris Bianchi, another cool start, and this time it held. Not like yesterday, it held.
Yeah, yesterday we had a 46-degree temperature split. We started at 53 degrees. We ended at 99. Today, as you said, Kyle, it stuck throughout the day. Temperatures on the nice and cool, refreshing side, 74 degrees for us for a high temperature in Denver today. Our average high for today, 83 degrees. So we're a little bit below average. In fact, so far this month, while we've had a whole lot of red, one thing we haven't had a whole lot of blue. We had that for today for the first time so far this month. A little bit of cloud cover overhead. We do have a few showers trying to pop up in the foothills south and west of Denver. Might see an occasional shower, maybe an occasional rumble of thunder for tonight. But for the most part, what we're looking at, showers mainly across southeast Colorado, mainly along the Highway 50 corridor. Most of us, though, stay dry. But fingers crossed we can get a little bit of rain. We certainly need it across northeast Colorado. Lows tonight, temperatures drop back mostly in the 50s and 60s, so another cool night for tonight. Tomorrow, still kind of cool. Low to mid 70s for us, again about 10 degrees below average. Maybe an isolated storm, but for the most part, I think tomorrow should end up on the dry side. Highs tomorrow in the 60s and 70s, and that 7-day forecast. It is fairly toasty as we get into the weekend, into the early to mid part of next week. But speaking of next week, it's trending hot, real hot, with temperatures likely going to be pushing the mid to upper 90s for most of next week. So if you like this cooler weather, enjoy it while you got it.
Today marks 40 years since the murder of talk radio legend Alan Berg outside his home in Denver. Killed by neo-Nazis who hated him because he was Jewish, because he called out their lies and their hate. Right-wing extremists killed Alan Berg because he didn't just challenge them on the radio, he mocked them. He made their anti-Semitic hate look as small and as foolish as it was then, and as it still is today. Because while all of Berg's killers are now dead, the hate they carried in their hearts lives on. It's in the anti-Semitic slurs shouted by protesters on the extreme left. It's in the chants of the right-wing khaki and torches crowd that marched through Charlottesville, Virginia. And that hate also echoes every time a powerful person today makes excuses or tries to distract from the anti-Semitism on their side. If only we could hear what Alan Berg would say about that on the radio. But all those words were stolen, along with his life, 40 years ago today. Colorado is set to become the first state in America to guarantee voting access for inmates who are eligible to vote. New law signed by the governor earlier this month will require county jails to provide mail ballot drop boxes and in-person voting options. It's a program that we have told you about here in Denver, where the sheriff's office has provided in-person voting hours for the past 8 years. Inmates at the downtown detention center cast their ballots today, and they'll do the same at the Denver County Jail on Thursday. Should note, this law does not expand voting rights for convicted felons. What it does is that Colorado allows people in jail awaiting trial on felony charges the right to vote, and now they'll have those in-person options. So most elections workers are senior citizens, right? It's been that way for a long while. They're the ones available to work. But this election season, Adams County hopes to diversify that crowd. Angela McCall has that.
With every election season comes a challenge to hire new election workers.
I'm a firm believer that the more people that participate, the stronger community we have.
Adams County Clerk and Recorder Josh Sigelbaum knows the importance of hiring fresh faces.
Traditionally, our election workers are our senior citizens.
The average election worker is 70+ years old.
But we do need folks of all ages, all colors, all backgrounds, all demographics. And so we look for everyone.
This year, Adams County is working to attract younger workers like Nathan Salazar.
This is going on my 6th election.
He was 16 when he started working elections. His mom encouraged him.
I didn't want to do it. She kind of kicked me in the butt a little bit just to get me going.
Adams County is expanding its high school deputy registrar program, helping students pre-register to vote and also recruiting them as election workers. The county is also increasing pay.
I feel it's important for people to know what's actually going on behind the curtains, just seeing the whole process of it.
Nathan was the youngest when he started.
Yeah.
And still is, 3 years later.
I think it would be a lot better, especially giving these newer voters the chance to see it and think freely of it. I believe that there will be more voters as well, just seeing the process and actually being able to see it.
With younger workers, Adams County hopes it will mean younger voters coming to the polls on Election Day 2.
If I see someone that looks like me, I'm going to naturally think, hey, I can do this too.
Adams County has to hire up to 600 election workers for the general election in November, so they're really hoping to get a diverse group to apply and ultimately take the jobs. Kyle, I asked Nathan about, has he got any friends involved? So far, no, but, it's a work in progress.
Sure. But if the idea is that elections are for everybody, right? Because our country is for everybody, then seeing somebody other than, with all due respect, the older folks working the polls would reflect that,
Yeah, and you have younger people there, you have more people that look like you, right? Ultimately, it's gonna make that person feel more comfortable to actually cast a ballot, because that's, one of the hardest things sometimes is just to get people to actually take the ballot over and make sure it gets in.
Understand the process. Colorado makes it easier than just about anybody else. Angeline McCall, thank you. Good reminder, you've got a week to cast your ballot. Too late to do it by mail, so drop that ballot or vote in person at this point. And then hang out with me next Tuesday night, June 25th. I'll have live coverage starting when the polls close at 7. We'll get some big-time results then, and we'll keep updating them all the way through 10:30 with news and analysis. We are back here with your feedback next. Thank you. Debbie writes tonight, thank you so much for pointing out the anti-Semitism now occurring on both the right and left. Talked about that in the context of Alan Berg's murder 40 years ago tonight. Sandy writes in to say that Alan Berg's death 40 years ago was a wake-up call for her. She said that she knew nothing about the hate groups, including the one that took his life, except for when Alan explained them on his radio program. Sandy, I think we know that hate is still out there today, right? In different forms, including in our community. Interesting today that it is outright embraced, or at least coddled, by so many powerful people and organizations. I'd say, like Alan, I don't believe that ignoring it is going to make it go away. Bill says the amount spent on homelessness is staggering. You should be doing stories on this spending and how effective it is. Bill, great news. We have been, and we will continue to when we see you next time.